Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Post Fight Show here on the Mandatory. Remember, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And also follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO. You can also see in the description where our names are, the ways that you can connect with us as well. And you can find us on the audio side. So if you are listening to this on the audio side, if you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. Also give us a 5-star because those are the things that helps the channel grow. And if you've already done all of that, thank you so much for rocking with us. Lots to get into. It's been a crazy boxing weekend, one of the biggest. By the way, this is an interactive show, so if you got any comments, drop them. We will be getting to all your comments later in the show. Co-main, they were headlining it as like two main events, like they'd be like the double main event or whatever. Anyways, Shakur Stevenson, he took care of William Zepeda, and in my opinion, he pretty much dominated once he figured out that, hey, he can't stay on the ropes, he can't be in the corner. And I think the biggest thing about the Shakur Stevenson fight was he wasn't fighting like how we thought he kind of would, be more defensive, not take a lot of shots. He didn't do that, which means that he was listening to what a lot of people were saying in terms of him not being exciting. So he was in there with Zepeda. He took some big heavy shots, but he got the W. And I thought I scored it 117, 111. I thought Shakur took care of him and dominated. But here's the thing. I don't think that Shakur even had to change his style just because everybody was talking all that. Because the whole time I'm watching that fight and he's on the ropes or he's in the corner, I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why? Like, why is he doing this? And that's kind of my gripe with Shakur Stevenson, because it's like, dude, you don't have to just prove yourself like that because people are hating and saying stuff. Like, you're a very talented boxer. You don't get hit a lot. That's okay. I understand that you want to be more entertaining, but in a fight where I mean, if it got serious, at one point, it looked like Shakur got hurt early on. It looked like William Zepeda stunned him a little bit early on. It looked like it, right? So, but it's like, you don't have to fight like that.
I mean, I thought he wasn't fighting his style, to your point, because it looked like he was trying to impress some people, but you could see that he didn't need to. Like, all Shakur Stevenson had to really do, easier said than done against William Zepeda, but was just stay off the ropes. Like, Super Tevin Farmer got it done, Shantelle. That's the big takeaway here. If you missed this
Yes.
week's episode, coined the phrase and comparing William Zepeda's most recent opponents with Tevin being Tevin Farmer. And I was like, Shakur Stevenson could do all the things Tevin Farmer could do. He's like a super Tevin Farmer. And then that became a thing on the episode, which we all enjoyed. Anyway,
Yeah.
so super Tevin Farmer got it done. Look, I had 9 rounds rather, 9 rounds to 3 for Shakur. I thought the 3 for Zepeda was kind of generous. And given that one judge had it 119, 109, two had it 118, 110, that tells you that the judges only saw Zepeda getting 1 or 2 rounds, essentially.
Yeah.
Shakur, I could see him at the very most, losing 4 rounds, but even that I think was a bit of a stretch. It was close in the first 4 rounds, and then Shakur just pretty much dominated from either the 5th or 6th round on, whatever it was. Zepeda was doing some good like pressure fighting early on, but ultimately he was just hitting his arms and getting a lot of his shit blocked, and he would throw a 4-punch combination, and
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson would just catch parry block, you know what I mean, like and he would just respond with like a straight left off of a shoulder roll and then just catch him cleanly. Shakur Stevenson would land a lot of his punches, and emphatically too. Like, he landed the harder punches, the more visible punches. His work was cleaner. He was better. He stood in the pocket for a lot of this when he didn't need to at times. And he fought a quote unquote entertaining fight. He took more risks. He almost paid for it in a couple different times because he did get rocked multiple
Yeah.
times. But for the most part, he was in control. I would say 90% of the fight or something close to that, he was in control of it. I think Zepeda, like, he brought out it takes two. So he brought out a great version of Shakur Stevenson that I think people would want to see. I don't think Shakur Stevenson should fight every single fight like this, though. But ultimately, if you're fighting like a Jermaine Ortiz, for example,
Yeah.
or Sando Martin, like, you're not going to fight this way. I think Shakur proved that he's adaptable and that he can beat pretty much anybody fighting in different ways. Like, I think if he fought Tank, He would be more patient. He would probably be more of the Shakur that people don't like, quote unquote, but he would figure out a way. Excuse me. He would figure out a way to probably neutralize him. Although I'm not sure how much we could talk about Tank now, given that he can't stop getting arrested for hitting women, allegedly. So
Yeah.
there's that. But I think Shakur's the best at 135, hands down, right now.
I mean, I've been saying that for sure. Other than
That's true.
Tank, but I will say this.
Is it other still?
Well, listen, I don't want to talk about the stuff that's going on
Okay.
outside of the ring because I think it's, you know what I mean? Like, if we did that, we would hate everybody. Like, you know what I mean? We like, let's be real. Like,
we shouldn't laugh at that. But...
we wouldn't rock with a lot of people because at the end of the day, like, we don't really know how people are outside of their lives. You know, if they're professional athletes, if they're rappers, like, you know, actors, like, we don't really know what they do on their free time. But, you know, not everybody has a clean life. Let's just put it like that. I'm not saying
not a lot of people have that though. Like
no. But you know what? And I'm not gonna. I don't want to deep dive into this, but if you take a look at the history of boxers, we've seen boxers do this many times, and then you start to think like it's probably a mental health issue. It's something that they've dealt with, and I'm not making excuses for Tank because I would never do that, because of what he is allegedly being charged for, or that he allegedly got arrested for. But I will say that there seems to be a little bit of a pattern that happens with that. And I think that needs to be looked at. However, I still think you could say Tank is that guy, but I think Shakur is right there. And that's why we need to fight with Tank and Shakur. My whole thing is that, you know, I've been saying, like, I think Shakur could probably go his career being undefeated like Floyd, because that's how good he is. I've been on this show saying that. And listen, he was really entertaining tonight. He was throwing hard punches. He was taking good shots, and that's all cool and stuff. But at the same time, and that's what I've kind of wanted him to see. But then when I'm seeing him on the ropes and I'm seeing him in the corner, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, you know, you want to pick and choose. That's true. You want to pick and choose who and how you're going to fight, like in a ring. That's why there's a game plan. But I don't feel like Shakur should just do stuff to prove things to people. Like, he's better than that. I agree. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to prove it to us. Like, the dude is a winner regardless. And so that was kind of my whole thing. It's like, man, you can't really listen to everybody else outside tweeting you, you know, and I think Shakur gets caught up in that a little bit, but he's great. And I think we kind of saw that tonight, and he gave us a performance. Everyone that was hating can kind of shut up right now because he won. He took a lot of shots, and he fought a tough guy in a William Zepeda.
Yeah.
Right. William Zepeda is tough. He comes at you. He's a come forward fighter, a typical Mexican boxer. It does have power. And Shakur stood in there with him and took shots and traded with him. And so it's like, I don't think, and if there was one guy that he should have done that with, it should have been a guy like William Zepeda, because William Zepeda also has a big following and he's a tough fighter. So it's like, I think the hate for Shakur should hopefully stop. I don't think it is, though.
IMPK13 says, you're saying that farmers spent a year in a hyperbolic time chamber and became Stevenson. I think, yeah, and he got younger too. Tevin Farmer was good when he was a champion at 130. Shakur Stevenson, like, look, William Zepeda was also number one. He's the rare guy who was number one in every sanctioning body. Like, you unanimously agreed, like, yes, this is the number one contender for our title and for our title. And he had the interim WBC ultimately, so he went that route. And then, yeah, it was what it was. I thought that was a great performance from Shakur. As far as what's next, I mean, let's go back to the rankings, because the WBC is built in an interesting way, and we'll see how this sort of moves. Shakur, we're probably, this is his second fight this year, so it's not a guarantee we even see him again in 2025.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing though?
Please.
When they said Shakur won, Shakur kind of looked surprised. Like, he didn't know. Like, if you take a look at his face, like,
he was surprised at the scores, like the actual scores. You know,
yeah, but he just looked surprised. Like, he was like so happy to
aggression all night too.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, yeah.
Andy Cruz versus Shakur Stevenson. Oh. All you people who want Shakur Stevenson to be like an exciting fighter, that ain't the opponent for that. But I think the nerds will absolutely love this fight. This is the fun one to me. When the fuck did Yadier Herrera become number 3?
Wow.
When did this happen? Have I been sleeping? I check this shit
No,
like regularly.
he was there before
He
when I
was
think we
like
took a look.
12 not that long ago or something along those lines. When did okay. Shakur versus Yadier Herrera. That will be fun from the standpoint of like Yadier Herrera will make it interesting in the build up to the fight. In the actual fight, I'm not sure he'll be able to land on Shakur Stevenson. When he lands on you, it could hurt. But like Herrera, he's not the he's not the guy that I think would like really like push Shakur Stevenson in a way that William Zepeda did, I guess, if you want to even say it that way. Maxi Hughes, Rayo Valenzuela, and it gets dark pretty fast. I gotta be honest with you. Not a lot of dudes here that I want to see Shakur Stevenson fight.
Isaac Cruz.
I think the one will probably be
Floyd Schofield.
Yeah, I think we'll just revisit that. Like maybe the WBC will just, like Turk will just pay them $1 bajillion to put Kid Austin back in the top 10 or something like that. And then
wait, hold up. But I think there's another fight that could possibly be made because we could get Floyd Schofield and Shakur Stevenson. Tank is set to fight next month, August 16th, against Lamont Roach.
We'll see.
If Tank, that's true. But I mean, he's been in this predicament before and still fought. So I'm just saying it could possibly happen. I'll say this though: if Tank beats Lamont in this rematch, then I think, there could possibly be some more talks about Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis because that's the fight to make. That is the fight to make in this division. Like, let's not look at these other names. I mean, we can because they're interesting. I want the Andy Cruz one, in my opinion.
And also because boxing is boxing. Like,
but that's the fight.
You're right. You're right. Ultimately, you're right.
Right. That's the fight that I think we all want to see. That's the one that's going to be the biggest moneymaker. And that's the one I think that would do crazy pay-per-view numbers. I think that one would do pay-per-view numbers. And I think you could do that fight either in New York. I think you could do it in Vegas. I think you can do it in DC. I think you could do it wherever. That's how good that fight is.
Not Saudi.
No. Tank wouldn't even allow that.
Yeah,
Tank wouldn't
true.
even allow that. Tank
that shouldn't because the people actually in this country want to see that fight. I think Shakur and Tank, at least in America, is the biggest fight in boxing that you could make.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I think it is. Like I'm not sure who else. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I'm not sure who else would crack that here specifically. Like, not like
Canelo and Benavidez. That's it.
I think,
but that's also international.
I think Shakur and Tank is bigger here.
Okay, yeah. I don't know.
I think it's bigger because with Canelo,
I think it's 1A, 1B. I think
if I'm talking specifically about here, like Canelo and Benavidez is bigger, obviously, like with Mexico. But if I'm just using just the states where Tank and Shakur are from, like that's
David Benavidez he's a Mexican American.
No, but what I'm saying is the Canelo Benavidez fight is bigger because of Mexico.
Yeah, that's
like
true,
it transcends the states in a different sort of way.
Well, I agree with you that it's an international fight. I agree with you that's an international fight, but I still think that's one of the biggest fights to make in boxing, period. But also in America, if you ask people, there's only really two names that people talk about all the time: Canelo and Tank. Canelo and Tank. You could ask that to any casual, and they'll be like Canelo or Tank. So I think whether it's their names, I just think it's 1A, 1B.
Less so Canelo now, I would admit, though, because again, might be washed. We'll see. We'll see in September, but hasn't looked great. When was the last time Canelo Alvarez looked great? Honestly, like great. Caleb Plant? Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But he's still a name.
Oh right? Yeah, like, he's the biggest name. He's the biggest name still globally.
He's still the face of boxing, essentially.
Globally, yeah. But listen, again, I'm still unclear on how I feel about Shiraz. But if you told me Shiraz was going to fight Canelo Alvarez in May, after maybe Terrence Crawford beats Canelo, like.
No, they'll do a rematch. They'll do a rematch. The reason why Shiraz is even getting talked about in that specific fight is because of Turk. Because Shiraz is Turk's guy. Like, let's not try to beat around the bush over here. He shouldn't be in a conversation with Canelo Alvarez. Not at this point in his career. Like, he shouldn't be next up after Bud. Like, that's ridiculous to me. Fight somebody else at 168 pounds. No, thank you, Turk. Like, I know what you're trying to do here, but I'm not falling for it. Al the
I'm not
Pal.
gonna go back to super
Al the
middleweight.
Pal just gave us $10. If you donate to the show, we
Let's
shut
go,
up.
Al.
We go to your chat right away. Thank you, Al the Pal. Very good friend of the show. He said whenever he fights a European, he looks great.